Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. My name is David and this is my channel, Let It Go and Let Flow. Today's video, we're going to talk about interpretation. Life is all about interpretation. That's really what we're doing, interpreting energy. All of this world is just energy. Now that's pretty cool because if I grab this, let's say if I hold this, this is a container and we can say, well, I bought this at so and it cost me $3. And yeah, there was another one that seems to be better, but I guess I'll just work with this one. That idea of the past. But as you understand that you're interpreting this, that this is the energy, and I'm interpreting and turning it into this particular form for only one reason, in order to enjoy it and in order to experience it. God enjoys and experiences himself. So this is my creation, and that would make me a deliberate creator. Does that make sense? So the meaning I give it gives life to what the form is forming. But when I start understanding that this is not a bottle that's just nothing, that this is interpretive energy, that this is the whole form of God or of our source, woo, as I hold it, there's a different feeling. Wow. Not only can I feel its love for me, but I can feel my love for it. Because this is consciousness, and even this, what we call just a bottle, I can feel its love for me. Isn't that interesting? There's so much more here that perhaps we don't know is here as we learn to interpret the world in a different way, as we learn to enjoy all of our creations and to interpret them in a way of love or appreciation or gratitude for every single thing. All these things are the energy of source. They are eternal. They are good. Every single one of them, good. And they are holy. They are connected to each other. And they are beautiful. How can anything be not beautiful? So as we look at the ocean of consciousness, there it is. It's flowing, right? And it's perfect love because it's all connected and there's no resistance within it. So it has to be perfect love. And it has to be beautiful because there is no opposite. There's only one, so therefore there's only beautiful. And it has to be good because there is no opposite. There's only good. So now we have that good and that holy and that beautiful. That's true interpretation. That would be truth of everything and everyone. And sit with that. That is unequivocally true. That is unequivocally true. That cannot be proven other than true. That every single person and every single thing, every single cell, every single piece of matter is good, holy, whole, and beautiful. There is no opposite of it. You see, one source. All there is love. All there is goodness, and all there is beauty. I recommend sitting with that. That feels good. Now, you might have some resistance, kickback. Well, I don't know about this, and this. Fair enough. That's that mind, that ego mind. We would talk about it, looking at things in an incorrect way based on separation and loss and lack. But as we let go of that, we really feel that bigness of that truth. You will see that it is indeed the truth. Feels good. So that ocean, as it turns into waves and it makes different waves, different manifestations, the question I have is always, how can it turn into anything other than it is? If you go into the ocean, whatever the wave is going to be what the ocean is. We can't just magically transform it. If everything is red, you can't just magically transform it into blue. Does that make sense? It is all good. It is all beautiful. And it is all one source of love. All there is love, connection, non-resistance. Now, from our mind's perspective, we can turn it into other things, just like I can say, well, this is also just a bottle that I got down the street for $10. Fair enough. Its temporary form is a bottle that I got down the street for $10. This is a wave. But can it become different than the ocean permanently? Or is it still the energy of God that's eternal, beautiful, and perfect in every way? Does that make sense? That gives birth to this idea that there is a permanent part of everything and a temporary part of everything. And the ultimate goal of spirituality, ultimate goal of feeling good, the ultimate goal of becoming more one with your true self and its interpretation is to look out in the world and see it in a permanent way and not a temporary way. Everything, what is it really? Can you look past all its temporary form? Can you look past the temporary form of the people you know and see the ocean that dwells within? You see? Can you see the beauty in all forms and all people, no matter what your eyes tell you? That there is only beautiful? Can you look past all the crazy deeds of people learning and growing and figuring out and experiencing their life and going up and down and see there's only good? That there is nothing else but good? Might be a little more difficult there. And can you see that everything is indeed connected deep, deep, deep down? And therefore, it is holy. You see, that's interpretation. And the more we understand that as we look around the world, we get to interpret it. We get to interpret it in a permanent way, or we get to interpret it in a temporary way. But we do know for a fact that whichever way you interpret it, it will come back to you. Because that's the natural state. That wave might give rise out of the ocean, but where does it go back? Comes back to the ocean. That idea of Tai Chi, rise that wave back to the ocean. You see? And guess what? As it comes back to the ocean, all temporary form and temporary ideas and creation that we gave it is gone. And it goes right back into its true essence and its true form. This is what your inner being knows. This is what your inner being knows. One of the things that I love is I look at near-death experiences, and a lot of times we hear this idea of not judgment, but where you have to go back and look at your life and decide, what worked and what didn't work, so to speak. And I hear a lot, and Bashar talked about this too. He says that when you go back into that place to review, there it is, the life review, I think they call it, you get to experience all these different experiences, and you go back in the experience and you become the body and you literally feel them. But he says you feel them through all the different perspectives of whoever was there. That means if you hurt somebody, you're going to feel from your perspective and their perspective, and you get to feel them both. That just always fascinates me. Why? So we can experience both sides that we couldn't experience when we were doing them. But it's not for a judgment. What is it for? It's to recognize that there's nothing to hold on to. Can you see? That what they're really doing is trying to get you to forget it and let go of it and not hold on to it. You see? It was a wave, and it gave life, and it happened, and now it's gone, and now it's moved back into the ocean. So you forgive it. That's what forgiveness is. That's what grace is. That's what mercy is recognizing that I gave this a meaning. Boy, when it reflected back to me, it didn't feel good, and therefore I blamed, and I hated it, and I pushed against that person, and I pushed against that thing. And now I can let it go just simply because it's permanent. That was temporary, and it is a permanent side to it. And I can just recognize that permanency. It is good. It is connected and holy and all of one source. It is an incarnation of one source. And it is perfect. And it is eternal. And no matter what I give it, I cannot change that perspective ever, no matter what. So I might as well just let it go and give it back to its eternal nature. You see, I am the interpreter of my life as you are the interpreter of your life. And we can either interpret from a temporary perspective of past and what people have told us, maybe interpret in terms of fear or in terms of hate or frustration. Or we can see it and interpret it in a way of good. Even if it's hard to see, we can look deeper and say, I'm going to find good in this because I know it must be there because it's eternally there. It's eternally there. And I know that the more I see what's eternally there, what's permanently there in my brothers and sisters and in my creations, the more I will see as my source sees. And the more it will come back to me, and the more my world will grow. The more my world will become, and the better I will feel, and the more power I will have. You see, so I need to let go of this resistance of what I think this is, of what I think this person did to me. And I need to let go and try to see truth in a permanent way. And now, when you pick up that bottle, see it as it really is and feel it. And I assure you, you'll feel its love for you as you feel your love for it. And that's resonance. We talked about that in the earlier video. Resonance feels great. And you'll feel that in the heart, the connection and the flow. Source is with you. All of you are connecting and flowing with your creations. And if you could do that as more and more with the different objects in your life, let go of that temporary. Feel the love it has for you. Feel the love you have for it. Connect and flow and see it in a bigger, more permanent way. Then perhaps we can start doing it for our brothers and sisters too, regardless of their travels, regardless of their baggage, regardless of what you think they've done. We can tend to kind of remove that veil of temporariness, of judgment, guilt, and sin, and start seeing them in a real way through the way that Source sees. And it will feel better because now we're seeing it in terms of truth as we let go of that resistance. Life is beautiful. And our ultimate goal is to come back together. As Yeshua talks about in the Course of Miracles, is the atonement, forgiveness, and innocence of all our brothers and sisters. Recognize they're doing the best that they can. We're all doing the best that we can. Remember that we're sitting here with a temporary way of interpreting our whole life, including everybody in it, that we have inherited, that says they can be guilty, that says that they're wrong, and says that intellect is the king of everything, that there is no true wisdom, and we're not connected and flowing with Source. So there's a temporary idea that seems to not feel good in our heart and our solar plexus. So as we learn to let go of that temporary idea that we have inherited and listen more to the permanent from our solar plexus, from our heart, the good, holy, connected, loving, appreciating, and we start feeling our way through life. As you look at something, pay attention to it, be with it, be present with it, feel its love for you. If you feel pain in your body, instead of feeling something push against you, I recommend feeling something calling out for you. I need your love, David. I need your attention in a good way. Can you please be there for me? Or perhaps I have a message for you to give you. And now it becomes this little game of what we can give the world, because you only receive back what you give. And as I give love and appreciation and gratitude to my creations. I try to see them in a new way, not the way the world sees, so to speak, that world view, but the real view that our inner being sees, that the truth of consciousness sees, that oneness, that perfect love. Each creation moving in and out and coming back in as a new wave, created by our perspective, our interpretation. And why not share the interpretation of Source with your creations? Why not share the interpretation of who you really are with your creations? You see? And enjoy them as your Source enjoys them. Because that energy is moving through us, but it cannot interpret for us. It has its own interpretation. We get to decide what we interpret out there in our life, and we get to decide what comes back to us. This is why I say that we are the masters of our world. You see, we get to decide. The body doesn't get to decide how it feels. You get to decide how the body feels. You see? And you get to decide how your world feels about you and how you feel about it. Why not match that perspective of our source, of our grand, loving, perfect, wonderful, and amazing source's perspective of everything. The permanent, permanent way of all of our creations. Love, appreciation, only beauty, only goodness, and only holiness. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, it's up to you what you receive. You are the creator of your life. Isn't it a beautiful thing? If you need to speak with me in a more personal one-on-one session, you can always contact me at thewayofkungfu75@gmail.com. And if you like this video, hit the like button. Otherwise, I love your comments. Keep them coming, and make sure to subscribe. And as always, my unconditional love and appreciation.